What's up everybody, Scott here, and Smissmas is come and gone, and I hope everybody had a great holiday. I know I did. It was nice just relaxing, laying around the house and stuff like that, but it is now time to get back to TF2. So it seems that Santa Claus paid the mercs a visit, and it's pretty safe to say the demo was the one on the top of the nice list this year. Not only did he get 2 new weapons, he got some cool looking Viking-esque cosmetics, but then there was also a rather interesting balance that was given to demo. Now, a few things were nerfed, there was a little bit of buff, but all in all the changes seem positive for the most part. Now, I'm not going to get too in-depth about the new weapons. There are already a ton of videos about them out there, and it seems that people either love them or hate them. So the Iron Bomber is the new grenade launcher, and it seems to handle a little smoother aiming-wise than the stock launcher. The grenades do not bounce or roll, so you have to aim opposed to just spamming, and it's also good at laying down a few pipes as a makeshift sticky trap. So the grenades, they also have a 20% reduced blast radius and a 10% less damage due to self-detonation, so you don't have that big bang of a real sticky trap. Now this could come in handy when you're trying to flee or if you're playing demo night. The Quickie Bomb launcher is the new sticky bomb, and it does exactly what it says. It launches quick. There's a 50% decreased charge time, so in theory you can pop one of these things out on the go and do some mid-air sticky damage. Now there is a 15% damage nerf along with a negative 25% clip size, so spamming these will probably be your best bet, as sticky traps, they're not going to happen unless you have an enemy chasing you down like Barry Allen Flash, as they fizzle out after 2 seconds. Now you will see some gameplay in the background with the new weapons. I played with them for quite a bit on the day of the update, and I thought they were fun. They're not as disposable as, say, the classic, but I can see where the hate comes from since they are rather different from the stock. Now, I rarely play anything but loose cannon demo night, and I just started messing around with demo in general recently, so I don't have too much of an attachment to the stock weapons. So I'll probably just keep messing around with these new additions to the demo's arsenal for a bit before going back to either the lock and load or the loose cannon. Now on to the balancing. Demo had quite a few weapons change for better or worse, and I'm not sure why Volvo decided to focus an entire update on balancing one class, but I like it and I would love to see more specific class balances in the future. Now the biggest change has to be the damage variance on grenades being dropped from a plus or negative 10% to a plus or negative 2%, as well as sticky bombs having their blast radius changed to the same as the soldiers' rockets. Now, the grenade launcher was fixed to deal full damage to targets regardless of where the pipe hits, so a bit of a buff there. And then the sticky bomb launcher did not get away from receiving a nerf that makes air detonation have a 2-second ramp up time to be 100% damage. Now, if you remember, a nerf was given back during the Love and War update along with the heavy nerf, and people complained and Valve changed this, but I assume it's back for good. And they also added a new trail to the stickies so they could be seen easier while traveling in air in case you want to try to avoid them or air blast back at the demo. Now realistically, 15% damage for 2 seconds doesn't seem like that much, but I have a feeling that the sticky jumping demos are going to disagree on that, and we'll see how this turns out if Valve decides to change the sticky jumper back to carrying more bombs. And they also in this update did a buff on the Scottish resistance to make jumping a little easier with an increased damage radius. They bumped that up from 100 to 146, so maybe that's their kind of fix for the sticky jumpers. I don't know what they're going to do with that, but it's very interesting how that turned out. Now a whole slew of other weapons were changed as well. The loose cannon had its double donk damage radius fixed, as well as removing a hidden penalty that reduced damage by 50% if the cannonballs touch the map or the ground or anything like that. So I do expect to see more cannon jumpers popping up. And yes, that pun was intended. Now the lock and load, it did have a bit of a buff and a nerf, in my opinion, but it actually came out better than it was. You can no longer get over 124 damage on a single hit, but before you scouts get all excited, they did add another pipe to the clip, so now you have 3 chances to get airshot. They also took away the 25% self-damage penalty, but then they added a 25% radius penalty. So I'm sure there's no more one-hit kills, and it is kind of sad, but you can still take out a sentry nest with no issues, and then you have that extra pipe which can even wreak more havoc. So I think ultimately it was a bit of a buff for the lock and load. I do see a few people complaining about it, but it'll be interesting to see how this pans out and if more people go over to the lock and load, because you were either really good with lock and load or you weren't that good with it. So it'll be interesting to see. Now what I think is the biggest buff of the update, the Skull Cutter had the 15% speed penalty changed to only affect you when the weapon is active. Now if you put this on top of the 37% longer melee range and the extra 20% damage attribute it already had, you have a beastly melee weapon brought back from the I never use it hell that it's been living in. So keep an eye out for those and more than likely run. Now a couple other weapons were buffed and there were things that people didn't really use too often. So the bootlegger and the claymore, or the unpronounceable named sword, were also given a buff of 25% charge meter increase on a charge kill. Now this also leads us into the biggest nerf of the update, in my opinion the saddest, and we all knew it was going to happen since the moment it was introduced in the game. But the Tide Turner was finally nerfed. Please take a brief moment of silence. So now you can only get a 75% charge meter on charge kills unless you're using one of the aforementioned items with the extra 25% boost. On top of that, a damage penalty was added that decreases the length of your remaining charge time while you take damage. It's a sad day for me, but I know a ton of people are rejoicing at these changes. Was the Tide Turner OP? Hell yeah it was, but it was extremely fun. I'd enjoy nothing more than charging and slashing in a large group of enemies, one right after the other. It was the best. I'll pour some 40 out for you, my friend. Say hi to the extinguisher for me when you see it in Nerf heaven. So quite a few changes for one class, and during the Smissmas update no less. It'll be interesting to see if Valve sticks to this balancing format and we start to see more changes made to the other classes in the future. Let me know in the comments below your opinions on this update. Are the new Weps worth using? What about the balances made to the demo? Do you think this will change how people play demo in general? So thanks for watching guys, appreciate it. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for more TF2, and until next time, take it easy, peace.
Sweet.